A couple of weeks ago, I had a dream. I was in a library with a bunch of books.
The books had labels on them, strange labels. After reading a few, I came upon a label that said guys I liked. I opened the book and read a few names. Surprisingly, I could put a face to each name I read. It was freaky.
That's when I realized where I was.
This library had many books in it. Each book had a label that documented my every action. The simplest thing, like jokes I have laughed at. Everything. Some were funny and others surprised me, like things I have yelled at my brother. One book labeled things I have muttered under my breath at my parents was very convicting. I kept skimming through the books when I came upon one labeled songs I have listened to. I didn't like this one. It was big and bulky and filled with many, many songs. Unfortunately, not very many of the songs were Christian. All I could think was how much time I wasted listening to music that didn't benefit me at all. Then I saw it, a label that made my stomach tie in knots. I set the giant book back on the shelf and held up a book labeled Lustful Thoughts. I opened it carefully and immediately shut it after reading the first sentence. I couldn't believe such a moment had been recorded. I didn't want anyone to read it. No one could know about that moment. I stuffed the book under my shirt. Then I saw it. It was a small paperback. The label read, People I have shared the gospel with. I opened the book and felt shivers down my spine. There was only one name in the book. I looked back at Lustful Thoughts. Then I dropped it and sank to the floor. Then I saw his feet. I knew who it was. I wanted anyone but him here. I looked at him. I deserved nothing from him. He picked up the book I had dropped and looked at me, not with anger, but with sorrow. Then he signed his name over every word written in the book. He signed his name in every book, over every sin I had ever committed, every wrong thing, and it was all written in red, his blood for me. When he had finished, he led me out of the room.